welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's be honest. Have you ever looked around a room and just thought, I am surrounded by idiots? Well, today we're going to unpack that exact feeling using the incredible four-color framework from Thomas Erickson's best-selling book. Let's dive in. So this is a direct quote. It's what a super successful entrepreneur, a guy named Stuart, told the author, and he wasn't kidding around. After building his company from scratch for decades, he had come to the genuine conclusion that every single person on his payroll was a complete and utter idiot. So, what is really going on here? Before we jump to the solution, let's just sit with that feeling for a second. That feeling of just total frustration when you feel like no one is getting what you're saying. You know, you try, and it's like you're just not being understood.
That was Stuart's life, every single day. But here's the real kicker. His employees weren't the problem. They weren't idiots at all. The real problem was that Stuart only knew how to speak one language, his own. It was literally like he was shouting in German to a room full of people who only understood French, Italian, and Spanish, and then getting mad that they didn't get it.
And right there, that's the heart of it. For Stu, an idiot was just a code word for not me. Realizing this is what set the author on a path to a really powerful system for understanding why people behave the way they do. It's like a secret decoder ring for communication. And that's what we're going to get into today. Okay, so if we're all out here speaking our own secret languages, how on earth do we start understanding each other? Well, the solution is actually a really simple but powerful framework. We're going to call it the four-color code. And it's a way of decoding people based not on who we think they are, but on what we can actually see them do. So the official name for this system is DISC, and it basically links four key behavioral drives to four colors. For the reds, that D is for dominance. That's the drive to take charge. For the yellows, I is for inducement. You know, the ability to persuade and get people excited. Greens are driven by S for submission, or you can think of it as stability. They want everything to be harmonious. And finally, the blues, their C is for compliance. That's the deep need for things to be correct and follow the rules. Now, before you start thinking, oh, I'm a total red, or, yep, I'm a blue, just take a look at this. Only a tiny fraction of people, about 5%, are one single dominant color. The vast majority of us, a full 80%, are actually a blend of two. So this is not about putting people into neat little boxes. It's about understanding the unique recipe of behaviors that makes each of us tick. All right, so what do these colors actually look like when they're walking around in the real world? Let's meet the cast of characters, and as we go through them, see if you can spot yourself or maybe your boss or your partner. You know, this right here, this is basically the master key to the whole system. It all comes down to two simple questions. First, is this person generally fast-paced and outgoing, or are they a bit calmer and more reserved? And second, are they focused more on getting tasks done, or are they more focused on people and relationships? Where they land on this grid tells you almost everything you need to know. Okay, first up, the reds. Just think of that person who walks into any meeting and immediately takes charge. They are ambitious, they are decisive, and they absolutely live for a good competition. They're not here for small talk. They are laser-focused on one thing and one thing only, getting the win. All right, now for the yellows. If the reds are all about winning, the yellows are all about being liked. These are your optimistic, charismatic storytellers who just light up any room they walk into. Their energy is totally infectious, but trying to get them to focus on a spreadsheet full of details? Yeah, good luck with that. Now, shifting over to the more reflective side of things, we've got the greens. These folks are the calm, supportive bedrock of any team or family. They are incredibly patient, super reliable, and they absolutely hate conflict. Their number one goal isn't to win or be the center of attention, it's to make sure everyone feels safe and the team feels stable. And last but not least, we have our blues. These are our analysts, our perfectionists. Before blue is going to make any kind of decision, you better believe they need to see all the data, all of it. They're not trying to be difficult or slow things down. It's just that for them, being correct is way more important than being fast. So there you have it. We can now spot the colors out in the wild. But here's where this whole framework goes from being interesting to being an absolute superpower. The goal is not just to label people. The goal is to adapt. Because, and this is probably the biggest lesson from the book, real, effective communication always happens on the listener's terms, not yours. Okay, just imagine you have to give someone some tough feedback. If you're talking to a red, you get straight to the point. No fluff,
just facts. And don't be shocked if they argue back. That's how they process. But if you try that exact same approach with a green, you will absolutely crush their spirit. For a green, you have to be gentle, you have to be reassuring, and you have to frame it around team stability. It just goes to show you, one size fits none.
So, how do you actually do this in the heat of the moment? Well, it's a pretty simple 3-step process. First, you identify. Just take a second to figure out the person's dominant color. Then, you adjust your own style. You might need to speed up, slow down, talk more about facts, or more about feelings. And finally, you connect by delivering your message in their preferred language. And remember, this isn't about being fake or manipulative. It's about being a smarter, more flexible communicator. So, what's the big payoff here? What happens when you actually start putting this into practice? Well, it brings us to a pretty amazing place. A world without idiots. I mean, this quote from the book's foreword just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point of this system isn't to slap labels on people. It's a tool for developing empathy. It's about making that critical shift in your mind from, why is this person being so difficult, to, oh, I see what they need from me. So the real key takeaway is this. The 4 colors are not a set of labels to put people in boxes with. They are a set of strategies to help you communicate. The moment you learn how to use the right approach with the right person, something amazing happens. You stop seeing idiots, and you start seeing individuals with their own unique motivations, their own fears, their own communication styles, and you finally have the tools to connect with all of them. And in the end, that's what it all comes down to. The power to completely transform your relationships, to bridge all those communication gaps, it's entirely in your hands. The people around you really aren't idiots. So the only question left is, are you ready to learn their language?